welcoming a new year with amazing today's session. Thank you for joining the session. Thank you for your interest to learn new and learning something new, and definitely you will get takeaway from the session. Thank you, Indrajit, for your interest and sharing your knowledge to the community. About myself, my name is Shaktivel Mades. I am a Salesforce MEP and platform champion, and 17 times certified and 7x Trailgate Ranger. I am a community group leader for the Bella Vista developer group, and I'm working as a senior Salesforce developer with Tech4 Services, Sydney, Australia. And you can reach me in the social channel, LinkedIn and Twitter, and I'm actively available. So you can reach me in the social channels, and also you can reach me in the Trailblazer ID. And I am a blogger and YouTuber, so you can reach me those channels as well. Today agenda, yeah, I'm covering about the introduction and group overview, and Indrajit covering about the Visual Studio Code, the usage on basics to advanced level. And finally, we distributing some certification voucher for the random participants. So please stay till the end. And also, please fill your information so I can take it your name for to providing the certification voucher. The link will be here, bit.ly/bbsf voucher. I will share in the chat window. So make sure you fill your name and your email ID. So then it's helpful for to identify the person for to picking the random participants to award the Salesforce certification voucher. And finally, the summary and resources. The topics. So these are the topics which Indrajit covered. He will share shortly after me. And group overview. Yes, don't forget to join the group to participate and for our activities. And we informed usually through email. So join the group using the join group button from the community page. And also we have the chatter group and Twitter and LinkedIn and YouTube channel also. So try active those channels. And Western Sydney and Bella Vista, we already have the admin group and developer group. So try to involve to the other community as well. In Sydney, we have a lot of user groups and developer groups, marketing and non-free and women in tech. So try to participate either as a speaker or participants, right? And celebration, yes. If you recently as a Trailgate Ranger, either 1X or 2, it's whatever it is, or even if you complete any certification, or if you're planning anything, or you recently completed any super patches, share your success in the chat window or social channel. We will celebrate from the community. And then news and updates and announcement section. Everyone's aware. Mostly you will get that notification and lot of posts from the social channel. Yes, the Spring 21 updates available, and that release notes also available. Now they recently changed the release notes in the help document, and production rollout is happening on 22nd and 29th of this month. So make yourself to get the updated about the Spring 21 features. Even if anyone interested to sharing the knowledge for the Spring 21 release features, please reach out to me. We will make it as a meeting for the upcoming session. And Salesforce Champion, Salesforce recently revamped that program. If you are willing and if you are becoming a champion, go ahead and nominate by yourself. That nomination dates this month end. So go ahead and nominate by yourself. And Trailgate guest, the Trailgate team actively every month they giving some challenges. Based on the challenges, they awarded the certification voucher or some special swag. So that January month also available. Just go ahead and check that the Trailgate quest. And Salesforce certification days, that's a Salesforce expert provided a half-day training, the free webinar. The January month and March month available. If anyone planning for the basic admin certification or developer certification, just to go get the Salesforce certification days pre-webinar and get expert before going with your certification, real certification. And then the Salesforce development relation team, they keep on updating the short video in the Salesforce developer YouTube channel. It's like a 5 to 10 minutes video only. They keep on adding the key section, and then they recorded as a video, and then they're trying to upload just to watch it. The playlist called Quick Takes playlist. It's available in the Salesforce YouTube, the Salesforce developer YouTube channel. And upcoming meetings, as I mentioned, if anyone interested to providing the speech, any technical thing, please fill this form or even reach out to me in social channel. We'll definitely will share your knowledge to the community for any of the upcoming session. And the Bella Vista, we are organizing for upcoming events next the entire month. Each week, we planning the session about the flow from basic to advanced level. So that link I'm sharing in the chat window. If anyone interested to learn about the flow concept, so try to participate. And even the each session, we are planning to provide the certification voucher and then Salesforce FAQ also. So it's a good opportunity, I think, to learn the Lightning flow. If you already don't know about that, then try to participate. That's about that upcoming meetings. And yes, share your love to social channels, either about the Trailblazer community groups and speaker about this current session, or leaders like Twitter or LinkedIn. Share your feedback in this hashtag. In that note, I'm hand over to Indrajit. Please, Indrajit, take over. Please share, introduce about yourself, and then start your session. I'm stop sharing.
Yeah, thank you, Shakti. Hello, everyone. So this is Indrajit. I am based out in Melbourne as of now, and I'm a senior Salesforce developer in Accenture. So today we will be going to cover on some basic as well as some advanced features of VS Code, which can help us normally in our day-to-day coding stuffs. So yeah, I will share my screen and then I will go on step-by-step topics on the VS Code areas. Just 1 minute, let me share my screen first. Yeah. So can everyone see my screen? Hello, am I audible? Just can you confirm, can anyone confirm in the chat window if I'm audible or not? Okay, fine, cool. So to start with, before starting with the details of the VS Code, I think most of us will be aware of this thing, but I still want to give a detailed overview or a brief overview that before going ahead with Visual Studio Code, what we have to install first. So first we have to install, these are the links provided by Visual Studio Code, and based on our operating system, we have to install the Visual Studio software. And according to our requirement, whether it's 64-bit or 32-bit. Apart from that, also we have to install Salesforce CLI. So whether that's for Windows or like Mac, or however is it, so that we have to install. And after that, we have to install Visual Studio Code and the Salesforce CLI into our system. Now, I would like to say a small thing before going with the Visual Studio Code, detailed topics. Normally, we use Salesforce for our development, or if we are using Salesforce and we need to develop some stuff. So there can be other options also where we can do the development. Yeah, one of the most common option is Dev Console, where we can develop, like say for example, Salesforce Apex, whatever is it in the Apex. Also in Lightning Aura components, and also if we go in our Salesforce setup, and we can also write trigger codes over there. Then we can have a question in our mind, why do we need to use some ID? The reason behind that is, first of all, if we are working in any like a large scale project, enterprise project, and when the project gets older, it becomes very tough to develop our codes in VS Code, in Dev Console. And a lot, and one more thing can happen, like say for example in Dev Console, since it's a cloud platform, say for example I am doing some change and one of my team member is doing another change, there is a high possibility that the code can be getting overwritten. And moreover, dev console becomes very bad when we are doing we are trying to work on some like a heavy code base, or heavy highly performance oriented, or like old orgs or heavy orgs. When I'm saying heavy orgs, I mean to say like lot of classes are there, lot of triggers are there, and a lot of lightning components are there. This is one part. And with the new part like lightning web component, so we need to do that in IDE. Yeah, and on top of that, why do we prefer Visual Studio Code? Because there are other IDE in the market, like say for example IntelliJ. Those are paid tools, but those are available. But Visual Studio Code is recommended by Salesforce. Salesforce has created some like SFDX based CLI and integrated it with Visual Studio Code, and Salesforce recommends us to use Visual Studio Code. Now, yeah, so this is the story behind why we should use Visual Studio Code for Salesforce developments. Now, yeah, so but one more thing, like most of the time when we try to like avoid Visual Studio Code, is like because it is like someone feels it bit complex to work upon there and all. But I feel if we start growing the habit to do our code or any changes in Visual Studio Code, it's going to really help us, and it's really going to like help us in having less amount of defects, as well as it will help us to it will eventually save our time. So yeah, now I will be like, imagine if we are having all this Visual Studio Code and CLI installed in our system, and we are having the Visual Studio Code in place. Now then if we open the Visual Studio Code, the Visual Studio will look like this. So one thing is like that Visual Studio doesn't come in this way. It comes in a like a black color theme like that. But obviously if we go over here in the view, and like there is an option called preference, and by that we can like change our appearance, and like here from here to change the appearance and the background color. And by doing that only I have make it as white background. Now the first topic before going ahead with Visual Studio is like Package.xml. Now what is Package.xml? Now we can have we normally when you use Visual Studio Code, the prime goal is to fetch all the components from the org. And in the org there can be enormous metadata, like say for example Apex class, lightning component, static resources, lightning web component, Apex trigger, etc., custom metadata, profiles, permission sets. But say for example I am a developer, I need only to work on Apex classes and lightning components. So at that time I don't require anything in my Visual Studio Code, like say for example a profile or a permission set to do my work. So by doing so, I in that scenario I need to like customize my Package.xml to select the selective components or the metadata on which I will be like fetching this, on which I will be working, and I will be fetching those stuffs from the org. Now imagine I need only Apex class and Apex trigger as I'm working on some area. So at that time I don't have to select the lightning components or like static resources or aura definition. And at that time, what we can do, we can like we can just exclude these things. Like say for example, I require only apex class and trigger, so I can just remove all these components. These are metadata. So if we say aura definition bundle, this is a metadata. Lightning component bundle, this is a metadata. Static resource is a metadata. Now we can remove all those things and keep only the specific thing which is required from our end. Now say for example, it is apex trigger or an apex class, and we customized our package.xml in this way. Now once this is done, what will be our next step? So our next step is to, like, this is a blank workspace. It doesn't have anything. We have set our package.xml. By that, we will give an instruction to VS Code that whichever metadata components it has to fetch. And one more thing I should like to say about package.xml. Imagine I am only fetching the apex trigger and say for example apex page or apex class. But in apex class, I am working on a small module where, but say for example, there can be like 100 apex class in my project, but I don't require at that time to work on that 100 apex class. Maybe I require 3 or 4 apex classes. So instead of making this Visual Studio Code, or instead of taking all the things together and do it and making this workspace heavy, I will be specifying what will be the apex class I need over here. And for that, instead of putting star over here, I should be putting a name. Like say for example, I need to have an apex class called like hello world. And then like say for example, I need another apex class called anything like hello world util or something. So at that time, I will be specifying in this way which specific members I require for the apex classes. Similar thing will happen for any of the components, and we can specify it accordingly. Be it trigger or lightning wave components or aura definition bundle, we can like specify it accordingly. And by doing this, like VS Code will refer to this to fetch only those metadata. Now, once that is done, what we have to do, we have to also authorize any org or any environment from VS Code. By that, VS Code will understand from which org it has to specify those metadata. So for that, we can't do that directly. For that, first we have to authorize the org. Otherwise, Salesforce will not allow us to like take any of the org's metadata, because that's not practically feasible also. Now, to do that, we have to first authorize the work. Now for that, we are having a command. It's called, for that, we will be clicking on our keyboard, Control, Shift, and P, and we'll be typing authorize and all. And if we click on this authorize and all, then it will ask like what kind of work do we want to choose. It's a project default, it's production, it's sandbox, or custom URL. Now we see in some live projects of client projects that that we are not allowed to open the orgs as login.salesforce.com or test.salesforce.com. We do it via normally the custom login URL. At that time, we have to choose this one. But if in our org, we are allowed to open via login.salesforce.com or test.salesforce.com, we can specify that accordingly. Now, if I select this one, then it will ask for me like an alias. And I can put any of the alias which would be meaningful, obviously. Now I will be putting this one, VS Code demo 1, and I will click on enter. So it will run the VS Code, and it will open a browser window. Shortly it will open, and by doing that, my browser, yeah, so this will happen. The Salesforce org will open, where I have to put my like browser's like username and password, and from there I can like simply do that thing of login, and I will be doing this. Now, once I am done with this, I will be simply login into this to like to authenticate my org. Now I will do that. I'm putting my credentials over here for my personal org. Then I'm logging over here, and it will just simply authorizing the org with the VS Code. Now once I am done, a prompt will come over here which will show that my org has been authorized. Okay. Now once I am done with this, so this means that the VS Code can fetch this org's metadata from this org's metadata into VS Code, and it has been authorized. Now how we can do that? We can just right click on the package.xml and just click on retrieve source in manifest from org. So when we are doing this retrieve source in manifest, VS Code is consulting with this package.xml and like fetching all the data. So if we click over here and right click over here and just run it, we have to wait for some time, and it will take all the data which will be like having. And if we wait for some time, we'll have all the data over here. So in the meantime, since it is like doing this thing in the backend, and after that I will show how we can work on that and deploy it to the world. If anyone is having any question, can you please type it in the like message window so that I can see, and based on that I can answer, because it will take some minutes to fetch the data. Yeah.
And also, meantime, go to that link and then update your name and email ID, so I can pick for your certification, the Salesforce certification. I will randomly pick 3 person, and then end of the session I will share it to you.
Yeah, please give me like some minutes, since it's like loading. It will be done very soon, and I will show. So if we see over here that step by step things are coming in green, so it states that things are coming. Now again back to our business over here in like if we go in like if we go to this org again and see, now let's say for an example I want to see the list of the class which has come from the org, and click over here. So I can see all the classes have come. So, and it is my like practice DevOps, so all the classes you can see which I normally do for like practices and all. Now if I open a specific class, say for example hello world, and like open it, so I can see I have just created this class for a sample demo. So here it is written that hello ANZ, so which is Australia, New Zealand, and like if I just want to say hello world, so this is a change I am doing in the code, right? So in this way we can do any kind of change in the code. So just for the demo purpose, I'm changing the name and saving it. Now if I want to just test what I have done in my org, so how I can test that? I will simply right click. So for that I need to first deploy this code to my org first. And how I can do that? I can simply right click on deploy source to org, and it will run. So once it is running, yeah, so again it will run in the back end to deploy this change to the like my org. And after that, we can see over here that like whatever change we have done in the VS Code, that will be reflected in the Salesforce org. Yeah. Now, one thing is that with the MD API standard, that every time we do any deployment, all the things gets deployed together, and that's a disadvantage. And for that, SFDX has come, but we can discuss that later. And so here I have got the prompt, which is saying deployed source, and it's showing me that the things are deployed. Now, if we go to our like org and verify whether whatever we have deployed is deployed or not, we can go over here and simply just right click on our dev console and see. We can also go from Apex class, but like quickly we can see from here that what is the change we are doing. So see, this is the hello world class where I made the change from ANZ to world, and it has been like reflected over here. So that's the thing. In this way, we can retrieve the codes and deploy the codes directly from the org and to the org. Now comes one more thing, which is like, say for example, I have made some change in the code, but I need to do some like static code analysis. And for that, there is a very common tool which we use normally in our project, which is called Apex PMD. Now for that, I can just, say for example, I want to run Apex PMD on the specific class. How can I do that? I can simply like, I can't do that via right click. I can simply like do Control Shift P and just do it in this way. Like if I run static analysis on file, I can click over here and just see whether it's like Apex PMD is running okay or not. Now here Apex PMD is showing me as right, so that means this class is okay. Now let me see if there are any classes over here which is violating some Apex PMD rule or not. I think this may violate. Let me run it once. So again, I will do the same thing. I will do Apex static analysis on this particular file, and we can see Apex PMD is running, and that's why it's giving. And we can see the errors have come. So what are the errors? So it's saying validate crack permission or SQL DML operation. So what does it mean? That means we have to add with security enforced over here. If we add with its security enforced over here, and maybe I have placed it in wrong area. So then if we try to like save over here and run the Apex PMD again, let's see what happens. So yeah, it's Apex PMD wise is passed. So in this way you can run Apex PMD, and also we can do this one. So if we run again the static analysis, there will be an option called static analysis on workspace. So if I click over here, entire workspace static analysis code will run, and whatever errors are coming, we can see that over here in the terminal. So if I open the terminal, here in the output and the problems, these things will be coming. Like the Apex PMD's result. The next thing is that in Apex PMD, like when we install, how we have to install Apex PMD. That's one more point. Now for that, we can go to the Salesforce extension over here, and here if we search Apex PMD, we can see a PMD static analysis code is given over here. So we can simply install that, and since it's already installed in my system, so we can simply install that and like use it. Now one more thing is like I have forgot to mention that in the beginning, but I think I should mention it. Like after we are installing the VS Code and installing the Salesforce CLI, we also need to install a Salesforce extension pack. Otherwise, the Salesforce features will not be integrated with VS Code. So if we search Salesforce over here, we will be seeing like a lot of things: Salesforce CLI integration, run Salesforce editor, and a lot of stuff. We simply have to install this Salesforce extension pack because it is having all these things like Lightning Web Component, Salesforce CLI integration, Apex, interactive debugger, Aura components, validator, SLDS, Visual Force, Apex replay trigger. All these things comes under this Salesforce extension pack. These things can be installed individually, but If we are installing Salesforce extension pack, it like all these things are coming under it, so all the things getting installed. So we have to install this one, and then we have to do whatever I have shown in the Visual Studio Code thing. Now now one more thing is like, so when we are like deploying this Apex PMD or installing this Apex PMD over here, it gives us a set of rules. So when I say set of rules, it is like as I said, like here with security enforced was missing. So at that time, I think some rules were written in this Apex PMD, which are scanning and seeing this with security enforced is not present, and what error has to be thrown, that was also written in the rule, and accordingly the error was thrown. But we can also create our custom rule set with Apex PMD. Now for that, we have to write, there is like if we go over their Git in over the internet in the GitHub, we can find there are some Apex PMD XMLs available in the market. So we can download those, and if we go over here in the settings, this is the settings for Visual Studio Code. If we click over here and go to settings, if we search Apex PMD, you can see a thing is coming called Apex PMD. If we go over here, we'll find some options. So here, if we go down, we can see that Apex PMD rule sets are coming. So you can add the item over there. So what we have to add? Paths to rulesets.xml file. Now, say for example, I have downloaded that XML file and put it somewhere in my or in my system. I have to add that path over here and do that. Okay. By that, I will have my customized rule configured for the Apex PMD, and Apex PMD will work according on the basis of that customized rule. So this is the Apex PMD part. Now the next part which we'll be going to discuss is, say for example, we are having we are working in a project where orgs are there. We are retrieving the codes, deploying the codes in our dev. Now a time has come where we have to like deploy our codes from dev to QA. Now how we can do? Previous way was change sets, but nowadays none of the enterprise level or big projects does everything via DevOps. So we have to so the deployment doesn't takes place via change set. So we have to put our code or deploy our code to repository first, and from there the codes will be deployed to higher works via the configured CI/CD pipeline, which can be anything, maybe Git, maybe Jenkins, maybe Azure DevOps, something like that. And also the repository can be GitHub, Azure DevOps, anything. It depends on the client and or like whichever account you choose or whichever software you choose for that GitHub like repository thing. Now for the repository part, I will move to another workspace because there it's configured, so that I can give you guys the demo on like how we can use Git for like to deploy our code. So I am switching over to that part first, then we can go ahead. So if I go to this one first, this is my workspace for the VS Code demo, because here my like Git is configured, but I will explain what we have to do. So say for example, I am having a workspace like that, and which is having some classes like this kind of classes, and I need to deploy this class, whatever I have done the change, I have to deploy it to my repository. Now for repository, I can open a repository which can be like which we need to like which we can use for that. So which can be called Azure DevOps over here. Now for the sake of the login, I will just stop sharing my screen just for a couple of minutes, and then again I will share it back. Just I'm logging to the like Azure DevOps because I need to do that to show it, and then I will log it back again. So just give me 2 minutes time. Yeah. So I'm just stopping the sharing, and then again I will share it. Just give me 2 minutes. Yeah. Again, I'm sharing my screen. Yeah, I think everyone can see. So if I go over here and just open it, so this is my Azure DevOps where I have logged in, and this is my repo. So if I go in Azure DevOps, when the screen gets loaded, it is like in this way the things come, and from there multiple repositories can be there. Now if I go and select this one as a VS Code demo version 1, and from here I can see the repository, and from there I can see the branch. Now if I click on branch, I can see whatever branch has been created, and the branch is having like if I click over there, my branch is having a structure where my, like here, if I click on the class is present, and if I click on aura, nothing is present, but we can all obviously add. Now if we just concentrate on this class and open it like in our repository over here, we can see it's like hello Australia is shown. Now imagine I have done some change in my code and I need to put it. Now what I can do, first I need to like integrate this repository in VS Code. Now how I can do that? If I go over here and go to the branch again, this is my repository, and if I go to the branch again, on master, if I need to click on master, I'll be clicking on master, and then if I can see a clone option is over here. Now if I click on clone and see, here I can see like a link is coming. I simply need to click on this link and put it with me, and if I go over here and just in the Visual Studio Code, if I go to the terminal and click on new terminal, here I can use this command git clone and just add this link and click on enter. Now on clicking on enter, yeah, so this already exists. So yeah, so so I have already initialized, and like the VS Code is already initialized, but I can share with you what we need to do to just integrate with this. First we need to run this command. Now once this is done, we need to run this command. So if we go over there, I will show step by step. So first we have to do, like once we have done this git cloning, we then have to do this git init, and that will initialize our repository. Now once that is done, we have to do this git add, then one space, then colon. It will add, and then whatever change we are doing or like changing, we have to do this git commit. And now once this is done, we have to push our code. So for that, we have to use, then we can use this git remote just to check which remote branch is connected from here. And then next we can like change the URL and whatever this thing. Then like if we use one command called git push origin master, so whatever change we are doing over there, we can push it. Now if I just like if we go to this command, like say for example, I need to see which branch is connected to my VS Code, I can write this one, git remote -v. I can see that this is the like link of my repository, which is the remote one. Now if I go over here and see, this one is the repository where things are linked, means whatever change I will be making over here will go to this repository. Now say for example, if I am making some change as like say for example hello world over here too, and then just seeing over here, we can see that icon has changed. So what does it mean? Let's see. So we can see that hello world class is changed. Now if we click over here and see, it was hello Australia and now it has become hello world. So there is a change in our code, but it is an unstaged change. We have to make it to the staging environment. So what we can do, we can click over here in the staging environment and pass it. So if we pass it over here in from unstaged to stage, first it will go to the stage, and then either via like command or in Visual Studio Code there is an option called commit. We can click over here and then like give a message, any message we can get. We can give it like commit for demo, So yeah, commit for demo or whatever we give, and then click on over, then enter over here. So what will happen? My my class will be committed, but I have not yet pushed to the repository. So for pushing it to the repository, I just need to run this command, git push origin master. So why is it git push origin master? Origin means my remote repository, and this master means the branch. So if I go over here again in my repository and see, so this is my master branch of my of VS Code demo v1, and under that master is the branch. So I will be pushing my code over here, and that's why I'm using that command. So again, if I come over here, so it git push origin master, and then again if I click enter, so what will happen? It will be pushing the change which I have made over to this link. Now to verify whether my change has been going over there or not, we can look into this link, which is nothing but the link which we are or the like Azure DevOps app which we are seeing from the URL. So it's the class, and if we go over here in like just in the class and just see on the hello, so it's saying the last change just now. This recently it has been changed. Now if we are opening again, and if we see over there, we can see that hello Australia was there. Now it's hello world. So it has been changed. Now, once this is over here in the repository, it depends on which pipeline configuration we are doing. And using that pipeline and this repository and branch configuration, we can configure Azure DevOps. And I mean, DevOps engineers can do that and use that thing to like deploy this thing from here to the higher environment. So in this way, we can use Git like with Visual Studio Code, and believe me, there we may see some lot of options in the market for this code repository tool like GitHub Desktop or other tools are there. But I feel like Visual Studio Code is very integrated, and like it is very robust, and it is very useful. If we know some commands over here, we can do it easily from here. So yeah, I always use this tool to deploy this VS Code stuff. Yeah, by this way you can do that. Yeah. Now one more topic I would like to cover, but in very brief, because for that we need to have another session, which is called DevOps org and Scratch org. Those are concept of SFDX. Now what we have to do in the DevOps and the Scratch org, I'm not going in very details because that should be like covered in like topics of Salesforce DX. But it's like a DevOps is like the master org based on which the Scratch orgs are created, where we can do like our codes and all, and then we can take the code from the Scratch orgs and we can take the codes in the VS Code, and then we can use the similar process to deploy the codes and to put the codes in the repo. Now for the DevOps, to enable the DevOps, we have to like go to our orgs, and over there if we just click DevOps over there, and then we'll be seeing an option comes called DevOps. Now if we go over there, there is an option called DevOps enablement, and if we are enabling it, so our DevOps will be activated. Now what we have to do in VS Code, we then need to like go over here, and through some command we need to like authorize our DevOps org, and then our DevOps will be created, and from there some commands will be there which will create the Scratch org based on the DevOps org. Now there are some commands available. I will be sharing those details later, and we can use those commands to use that. Let me see if that command I have used first so that I can show you guys. So it's like it starts, yeah. So these are the SFDX command which can help us to create the DevOps. So say for example, I am creating this SFDX. I need to create a DevOps. Okay. Now how I can create it. So first it will come in this way, SFDS force or create. Then no, this is not my DevOps. For DevOps will have a different command. This is for creation of scratch. Okay. Now let's say for example my DevOps is there, but I want to like create a new scratch on top of the DevOps. So at that time I can use this kind of commands, and which will help me to uh, create a scratch org, and it will have like a span of 30 days. My scratch org will be valid for 30 days, and there I can use this my codes over the scratch org, get fetch it to the VS Code in the similar way. But I am not going in details with this DevOps and scratch org, because I feel like before going in details with the DevOps and like scratch org thing, we need to discuss SFDX in detail, the concept of Salesforce DX and all. And after that it will be better if we discuss on this SFDX. So yeah, but overall, whatever thing we do over here in SFDX, we can do it from VS Code, and from the backend also when we are deploying and doing other stuffs, it is done via SFDX only. Yeah, so that's all. I feel these are the topics I think we should cover. And one more thing we can, it's like called I don't know over here it's there or not, but there is a very good tool. Okay, I can switch over to that another org and I can show you guys. If we go to this org and just flip over there to this workspace, and then if we try to see over here, just let the VS Code be ready. It takes some time. So there is a tool nowadays called Prettier, which helps us to do the code indentation. So for that, if we go to like extension and search Prettier over here, yeah, we can find over here one tool called Prettier Code Formatter, and that is installed in my system. So by that we can have like our code indented. So we do not have to again do that indentation manually. So how we can do that? If we go over here and say, for example, we take any class, like over here. So yeah, now the VS Code is getting ready. It's not yet ready as of now. So yeah, so nothing, it comes something. If we right click over there, we can see that some option comes on the Prettier. Is called that format the code, and if we click over there, the Prettier works from itself in the backend and make all the indentation in the code. So for that, only the main thing is that we need to install these Prettier code formatters in the system. So yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, now if we just go into a detail of the Prettier, the very good thing about the extensions over there also that they show us like what are the things, how we can install and those things, and how we have to install, what we need to install, every details are there. Like we have to install Node.js for this, yeah, and how we can like run the Prettier, that is also given over here. So say for example, we are having this one, any class we are having, and then just Control Shift P if we can do, and just see format document option is coming. If we just format it, yeah, so I need to do some more settings over there, so that's why it's showing no format of our apex file is installed. But and I need to follow that extension thing like in details for this Prettier thing. I mean to say the Prettier code formatter, after installing also we need to follow like Node.js installation or something, which I think is not installed properly in my system. That's why it's coming. So yeah, we can install that thing, and by doing that, the code gets like indented automatically through that tool, and we don't have to do it manually. So yeah, that's one more thing we can use in VS Code. Yeah. So that's all from my end. Please ask if you have any points to discuss or any questions from your end. Yeah, otherwise I can hand over to Shakti now. Yeah.
Indrajit, can you check some questions in the chat window?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, in the chat. Yeah, so is Prettier fully compatible for all SF objects? Have you used any automation scripts that is AML for GitHub automation? Yeah, I no for GitHub automation, YAML we normally do. Means I have seen or I have used in like while configuring Azure DevOps, but not in like VS Code I've done. Okay, is Prettier fully compatible for all Salesforce objects? Yeah, so Prettier is not object specific; it's basically file specific. So, like even if you go to any Apex class, Apex trigger components everywhere, you run the Prettier thing, it will do the indentation. Yeah. Next thing is this org browser or package.xml. This question is not that much clear. Maybe it's something has been written before. I will come. Okay. Do we have to do do we have text search options in the VS Code or in there in extension? It's a very good question. I will show you. Yeah. Say for example, I am having a very big project and I need to do like a lot of the things, and I need to I need then like say for example I now say for example I am having a class and that some util class and that has been referred by multiple classes, and I need to see that in which classes that has been referred. So for that I need to do a file search. So file search can be done easily in VS Code. Now how I can show you. For example, let's say for example I want to see case object has been used entirely in this file. So if I go over here and just search case, I can see the classes where this case objects has been used, and it will be shown over here, the entire list. And yeah, now if we want to like say for example, if we want to check that where say for example star or like .cmp means in lightning components whether it has been used or not, we can see. We can just again run over here and see those things that where CMP has been used in this way. So in this way we can do the like file search. Again, say for example somewhere I need to do like say for example case is okay, and I am searching over here that wherever the case is capitalized I need to change it to like smaller one. So we can do in this way and like just click on replace, and via clicking on replace all the places where case is in capital letter it is showing. See it see the red part is the one which is there and the green part is the one which will come now. So by doing this thing like entire in the entire workspace the things will get replaced means capital C will become small c. So yeah, so this is a very light example I'm giving like because Apex is case insensitive, but obviously there can be some things which we need to change. Say for example entire name or something we can do at that time. A very good example is the record type. Say for example we are doing somewhere the record type check, and at that time we are using record type name because we know that in record type we can't do with like this record type ID fetch using the developer name. We need to pass the label, and somewhere if we found like the record type name has been changed, we can use that new thing, and like say for example that record type name has been used in multiple classes. So instead of going to the individual classes and doing that, we can just directly put the name of the record type over here, and we can put the replaced name over here or the new name. Click on replace all, and everywhere it will be replaced. So I hope this was the question for that, and now let's go to the new one. Yeah, how do you sync objects from server aux to local VS Code repository? Yeah, so if you are saying that how do you sync objects from server aux to local VS Code repository, I have shown two things. So if we are saying like from the org itself or the Salesforce org itself, so it is just like uh, initially when we are having this VS Code, as I showed in the beginning, we are doing with Control Shift P, and like authorize an org we are doing. So by doing that authorization of the org, we are like authorizing that server org, and from there we are doing the like then once that is authorized, we are just coming over here in the package.xml and clicking over there, doing the retrieve in this source from metadata manifestor, and then fetching it everything, and everything is coming over here. On the next option, what I showed over here from the Git, I mean the repository, if that is your question, first we have to do the cloning. So if we are doing this cloning, what happens? We link that repository from there, and then just we use this git init one more command, and by doing that we fetch all the things from the git over here. And we don't have to fetch all the things from the git over here. One more options we can do, like we can download the git folder, and directly from there we can open that git folder from like open folder in this way, and use by that we can like configure this repository thing with few commands as I shown, and from there we can just fetch all the things, make change in our code, and then like we can commit that thing, and from there we can use this to commit, or like from here also we can commit, but like using that button as I showed, or like and then there is an option called git push origin master. By doing that, whatever change we are making, we are pushing it to the repository. So that in that way we can handle it in our network. The next question is, you can start to do most things in VS than you do in test console. Yeah, so if you are saying it, Adrian, it's true. We can do most of the things in the VS Code, like in the dev console, like running the test classes and everything. So that's the beauty of IDE. All the features of the like dev consoles are given in like VS Code. We can run those stuffs. Instead of git push origin master, can we just git push? It's there, we can do that, but say for example we are having multiple branches, and at that time we have to specify which branch we need to push our code. So at that time it's better to just specify the name, and origin is just specifying or indicating that it's the remote branch, because we know like whatever when we are doing this git pull or git fetch, we are just simply creating a local replica of the remote branch in our own desktop or in our own laptop. So we can do that, and like for that we have to do this origin to specify it's the remote repository and the master. And before doing that, we just as I showed you via the command git remote, we are already like integrating the remote repository URL with our local VS Code. Next question, learned last week that in the message you can type fixes AB #NN, where NN is a task or bug stored in Azure boards, and it links the commit. Sorry to say, but I didn't get this question. Is it related to VS Code? Learned last week that in the message you can type fixes AB and N, where NN is a task or bug stored in Azure boards. And okay, I got it. Okay, yeah, we can do that. That's good then. Yeah, I think this is about like before pushing commit, before making any like running our push command, we have to commit our changes to the before pushing it to the repository, and we can do that message thing. Yeah. So can you please show me retrieving admit related change from org, like creating a new field with FLS or retrieving pick list value with record type? Yeah, Shakti, obviously we can do that, Shakti. What we have to do as I showed in the beginning, say for example you are having any pick list or any record type, so at that time we have to specify or like customize the package.xml accordingly. What I know, to retrieve any pick list or like field, I can't recall what is the metadata name for the pick list, but for the field I can say you first we have to like create for the like say for example one type called custom object over here, and with that custom object, if we put star, that is no harm, all the objects will be fetched. And like say for example, but we want to have like only the object contact, and for that like I want to have like over here like a specific field. So any field, say for example anything like a row, contact email or like secondary email, anything. I need that email ID only. Here my metadata name will be uh, here my metadata name will be like field. So at that time we can specify accordingly and get it done. The next question is like, come over here again. Base trailed for setting is like this one. Okay, this is for the SFDX lane. Yes, trailed SFDX is really good. Ideally, you will have to create separate projects for each org. I didn't get it, sorry. I need to clarify on the profile statement. They are additive, so you can add a permission to in a profile, but you can remove a permission. I think that's how it works. I'm not sure on this, but I didn't get. Actually, maybe if we can like talk on this, maybe the question is clear to me. I need to clarify on the profile statement. They are in additive, so you can add a permission in a profile, but you can't remove a permission. I think that's how it. If you are telling about the package.xml, yeah, profile permission, those things are related, and we have to actually see from the Google or wherever we see how the metadata structure is that, and accordingly we have to configure our package.xml. But after the things are like similar in the VS Code, we have to just do this right click of thing, put it over here, and then wherever we go, we have to need to change the class and all. Then it's coming, we can configure to run it on the file and open and file save. I may need to go to the other questions above to understand this. Profiles will deploy in name, but they don't alter existing profile. We have moved to permission sets because they work better. Yeah. Yeah, maybe from the previous questions that is related, I can understand after going over that. Deploying profiles to VS Code always have been a challenge. Not sure I am missing anything. Yeah, sometimes it happens. Like if we are deploying profile to VS Code, and most in of the like large code, it's not only VS Code. If we are deploying from Git also, or any like any DevOps things also, it happens that profile, if we are like deploying something in the profile, it gets overridden, and sometimes we have that problem. So it's all, sometimes it depends like from project to project that how we want to take the approach. Like some projects prefer that profile deployment, or some projects prefer to do those FLS and other stuffs as post deployment steps after deployment. That depends. Will VS Code throw error if duplicate items in package.xml? I feel it can, and we can check it now only. Yeah. So imagine I am removing these things, and say for example, I am repeating this Apex class or anything. Say for example, static resource. Let's see what happens. I think it should. Now if I am clicking over here and just right clicking over here and retrieving, let's see whether it gives any error or not. But only one thing, we need to wait a bit for this to run totally. In the meantime, I can go to the other questions, then we'll see. How to add multiple orgs and multiple projects under it? Yeah, I will show you. I will just tell it. Wouldn't org browser be more useful to fetch components? Wouldn't org browser be more useful to fetch components? I didn't understand your question properly, but if I've understood properly, that wouldn't org browser be more useful to fetch components? That's not like a automated thing provided via org. We have to download those manually. But if we are going through this Visual Store, it's as I told, it's an IDE. It can just do the stuffs in a like all the automated way and a processed way. So always it's a better option, I feel. Question is like, okay, that org thing. So say for example, I am working over an org over here, and okay, it didn't stop us. The package.xml didn't stop by mentioning double static resources. It came. Now what happened over static resource? We can see here. No, it also came. So maybe like if we are doing the duplication in the metadata, maybe it's like it's identifying. And the next question, say for example, if we need to like switch on the org from the VS Code, we can do it. We can just click over here, and we can, on clicking over here, we get an option of authorize an org. Then if we click the authorize an org, and then if we follow that same process, what kind of login URL, what is the name and all, and again it will like prompt us to this kind of window where we have to log in and just authorize. And again after that authorization, we can again come to the package.xml, right click over here and take the updated code of the new one. The next thing is like yeah, this was Shakti's your question. Extensions, yeah, I gave some like idea on extensions. Yeah, then those audible question, and like if I go over here and question answer, yeah, fine. Yeah, that's all. I feel we do have, okay, some more questions are there. Himanshu. Okay, how to deploy code from prod by validating with test classes. How to deploy code from VS Code to prod. First of all, if we are doing like VS Code to prod, I think we should not deploy directly from VS Code to prod. We should have a process in the DevOps or whatever, like to move it from VS Code. If we are using, normally what we do, VS Code is for development, so we will be basically using like development environment or to do our VS Code stuffs. Then we should move it to QA or whatever, or UAT, and then production. So I think we should not directly link VS Code to production or UAT, something like that. Technically it is possible, yeah. For the test class stuff, if we go over here in VS Code, we can see an option comes here. So we can run the individual test classes over here, or the run entire test class from here, and it will show us. So if I just run a individual test class, let's see what happens. So yeah, it's saying that failed to run. Maybe some error were there, but yeah, it comes over here only. Yeah. And throughout the test class it comes, but I will say like in VS Code the test class things are not that much robust, because I may be wrong, but sometimes I struggle to see that code coverage over there. But yeah, for that code coverage thing, we need to go over here in the setting, and in the Apex test we need to configure that. And from there we can just by configuring that we want to see the test coverage percentage, then it shows over here. But here it's failing, maybe there, since it's my personal org, so the test classes maybe, and these are old test classes, maybe some issues are there, that's why maybe it's happening. The second thing is that, can we skip package class and pages to retrieve? I'm not sure, but if you are saying that package class is a package of XML, in metadata API format, no, because package.xml is the driver area from where we retrieve some metadata API. By that only, it's not only VS Code, even in DevOps, the CI/CD tool, they also understand that what is the thing needs to be done. Now, if we want to get rid of this package.xml, you can use package format or source format form of deployment, which comes under Salesforce DX, and that's another thing. But for this metadata API format, which is like based on these metadata, package.xml is needed. Obviously, if we are going through this VS Code way of using, as I showed, but if we are like, if we want to like download directly and then just do change manually and then put it over there, that's a different thing. But if we are going with this VS Code metadata API format, that's the only way. Can you explain how to retrieve complete project into VS Code first time? With more than 15,000 components, VS Code has limit of 5K files. Maybe 15,000 components, then as I told, through the custom metadata, we have to identify what specific things we need, and based on that, we have to like, I mean to say, yeah, like we have to specify through our custom metadata over here, like what are the things exactly we need, and then we need to make a filter of those 15K and 5K, and then need to do that. By the way, 5K things, it's I need to also see, they have this limit 5K, but if there is 15,000, yeah, we can see to handle in that way. Or at that time, another option comes that is called Salesforce DX. And I was not like willing to discuss that because that needs some more discussion, but I can give a small thing. So normally when we do Scratch or concept and this DevOps DX, we put things in a source format, which is package-based deployment, not this metadata-based deployment. So at that time, we create different modules based on which the things remain. Like say for example, if you are considering is a 15,000, we can identify what are the component, front end component, apex component, batch component, or anything like that, and you can divide it and make a different folders or package structure which will have this limit within 15k. Now since we are doing it through scratch orgs, and now what we'll be doing, we'll be using VS Code to take that specific model or the module, and we'll take that code only to do the deployment. But for that, we can't directly take all the codes from the OR. We need to configure it accordingly. Maybe we need to configure the before configuring in VS Code, we need to do the configure in configuration in the repository, where we'll be breaking these multiple 15,000 components into various packages of 4,000, 5,000 each, and then whatever package we need to identify that, and we have to pull it from the repository. Then we need to push it to the our scratch or do our code over there, take it back to the VS Code, and then or whatever tool is it, I will say VS Code, and then we can use the normal Git things to deploy the change to the repository and from to the deployment. Okay, the next thing is that, so rather if we have a class B, then if we have a class B, then inside class A there is a way to open class B. Opening we have opened. So if you are saying that, yeah, like say for example, if you are saying in this way, I am having a big class and which is referring to some inner class, is there any way? Obviously there are some way. If you click on control and just click on your mouse and go to that class and click over that button, that class will be opening in the next window. We can do that, and I normally do that also. CMD click on Mac and control click on Windows. Should I navigate to you the reference class in the parent class? I can say control click on the, yeah, control click. I don't know about Mac, sorry to say, but I know about Windows. Control click will help that. Is there any specific order for components to be followed while deploying for a new project from one org to another? Obviously, we have to identify that which is the ground level metadata. Say for example, if we are deploying any Apex classes, before that we have to identify the Apex classes are referring to which fields and which objects. By doing that, we have to deploy the object first, and then the fields, and then the Apex classes. But in the Package.xml, we don't have to do that. But while doing the deployment, we have to understand and maintain that hierarchy. Normally, we deploy the object first, then fields, then say for example, page layouts, custom metadata, all those, most of the metadata. Then we'll deploy the class and the components. That's very easy. Even if we are missing while doing the deployment, it will show us the error, and from there we'll understand. You can also update a developer task in link direct to commit and closes the issue value set and value not destructive profile. I didn't get that, sorry. If we have a class we mentioned inside, is there a way to open, as I told, how to deploy Apex code from VS Code to production org by validating with test classes. Like we click deploy source to org. I means why I means normally we do the production deployment via DevOps, but if you know if we are not using DevOps and using VS Code to directly deploy from to production by validating with the test classes, like we create there, is not that thing will come. We have to run the test classes first over from here. Run over here, we can see that here the things will come where they will show us the overall test class coverage, and if it is over 75%, which is the one, and but it depends from project to project what is the standard. And after that we can use our here over here, come over here, just click on right click over here. We can, if we do here, like here in the Force app, I'm not saying above, and just click on the source toward the entire structure of this, all the classes, components, everything, whatever it is there under this Force app will be deployed directly to the org. So in this way we can do. But you can still move to production from VS. Yeah, we can do that technically, but yeah, obviously, functionally, normally we don't do. That's the thing. Yes, it's possible. We can specify run local test or run in the parameter. Yeah. Build a package.xml including meta you won't want to deploy, and then run the force deploy command with the run test. Yeah, if that is the thing, then we can do that. Yeah, if people are starting out with VS and a clean org, start looking at unlock packages or deployment. Yeah, that is the thing. Like, yeah, obviously, if we are we are starting with some new areas, we can obviously go with like unlock packages, which is called, yeah, package format of deployment, and that comes under Salesforce GX. Yeah, that's good. That's a good area. That means that's a new thing, and but that's very robust. But it's having like something. It's but and also it's very modular. And every time we do the deployment, only the part of the components which we are deploying it gets deployed, not the entire thing which are there in the from the metadata API components. Yeah. So yeah, that's all. I think I have covered all the questions. Yeah. Over to you, Shakti. Yeah. And if you can hear me,
Yeah. Thank you, Indrajit. I think it's a very informative session, and then you clarified almost all the questions.
yeah, it's my
You
pleasure.
covered from the basic level to advanced level. Yeah, it's really much appreciated and a lot of informative session, I think so. Even all the attendees really enjoyed. Okay. I'm sharing my screen, and then we'll decide that the certification voucher. I hope everyone submitted your name in the sheet. I'm giving a 1 minute time, so if someone missing your name, just verify quickly in the sheet.
Yeah. I also thank to every participant for asking so many questions, because it's really like informative and interactive session. And thanks for this one. Thank you very much.
Okay, before picking the random participant, I'm quickly show you for the upcoming session. So simply go to the Trailblazer community groups. In the community group detail page, you can find the upcoming meetings. As I mentioned, we are planned for the flow from basic level to advanced level for the next entire week, every week. So try to go and then register your spot if you want to learn about the flow concept. I hope everyone entered your information in the sheet. Let me try to pick the name from the picker wheel. Okay. So I have in the sheet totally 37 names, but totally we have the 39 members in the attendees. If anyone name is missing, I'm once again I'm sharing that link. Maybe if someone is missing, just fill your name. So bit.ly/bvsf voucher, that is a link. Indrajit, I added your name for your info. I already added. So someone I'm still entering it in the sheet, so I can wait another 30 seconds. So about that upcoming meeting for the Flow series, so we plan to provide the certification voucher for each session, as well as this session is sponsored by Velocity Inc., that company. So the company planning to provide the swag for all the attendees. So if you interest to participate, so it's an online event, virtual event. Try to learn the Flow concept. It's one of the real useful feature. The Salesforce keep on updating all the necessary information, like all the development related activities still we can achieve from the Flow. So it's good to learn Flow if you don't know about previously. Okay, I think everyone added in the sheet. Let me copy the name and then paste it here. Give me a moment. So I added in the picker view all the very best. So I am picking 3 members, 3 participants in this list. So first one, yeah, the winner is Nashir. Nashir in this call. Yeah, congrats Nashir. Please touch base with me in my social channel. Okay, let me run another 2. This time Santosh Elankovan. Congrats Santosh. So the last one. So Sachin Kumar, congrats. The congrats all 3 attendees. Thanks for joining everyone. If in case anyone willing to learn about the Lightning Flow, looking forward for the next month. In the meantime, until then, goodbye and take care. Thanks Indrajit again.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Have a nice day ahead. Yeah, nice to meet you. Bye.